What's happening, people? Auntie Mary is back. I know I was slacking, but I had some vending events because I had to go out there and sling my bling. I was working my side hustle on Thursday and Friday. I just didn't come on here because I forget what I was doing on Friday. So I was taking a break, but I'm back for today's Auntie Mary Said It. And this one is based off of a conversation that I had with somebody that I hold very dear to my heart. They mean so much to me, but it was kind of not really super deep conversation, but it just kind of struck me. So I was having this conversation with this person that I love dearly, and they were not pleased with the service that they were being provided for something that they were actually paying for. And the thing that got to me, that bothered me about it, was they were taking ownership of the entities not having provided the service that they should have been providing. And I was like, hold up, wait a minute, stop. You are the customer. You're the customer. They are providing a service to you. You are not providing a service to them. So if anybody should be feeling upset or dissatisfied or wondering if they've done something wrong, it should be them, because they have not provided you the service for which you've paid for. So that started I started thinking about that, and it was like, you know what? I said to this person when I was talking to him, it was like, do not switch roles. You are not the provider, you are the customer. And what you're paying for has not been provided to you. So we get into all kinds of trouble when we start trying to play a role, or we get into or switching roles and taking ownership for things that we should not be taking ownership for. It's like, for instance, somebody's behavior that is hurtful or angers you or something like that. Now, granted, let me just say this. Now, sometimes people, act towards us a certain way because we acted a certain way. So when, we all have choices, and you make a choice. When you make a choice or decision, you have to be prepared to deal with those consequences. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is, like, sometimes people just stank just to be stank. When they do that, that does not mean that I then switch roles and then take ownership of somebody else's bad behavior or stank behavior, whatever nonsense. It doesn't work that way. So we have to learn how to make sure, not so much just learn it, but remember to play our own role, and don't switch roles with somebody else by taking on ownership of somebody else's junk. That ain't your junk. Put that junk back right where it belongs. Somebody bring you some garbage in that little suitcase, you take that little suitcase and you give it right back to them. It's like, no, boo, that's yours. That's not mine. I'm not keeping that. So we got to make sure that we play our position, play our role. We're gifted and anointed to play our role. I can't play your role. You can't play my role. But so I have to remember that, and you have to remember that. And we also have to remember that we do have the right to tell somebody, hey, this is not acceptable behavior to me, for whatever that thing is. You do have the right to say that. You don't have to just keep taking a bunch of stuff, whatever somebody decides that they want to bring to you. No, it doesn't work that way. It does not. Now, and I'm not saying that you're not compassionate. I'm not saying that you're not loving and kind. I'm not saying that, but I think a lot of times, especially as Christians, we get it twisted up and think, well, I just won't say nothing because I'm going to be loving and kind. No, I don't see anywhere where it's, hey, Adrian, I don't see anywhere where it said that I'm supposed to lay down and be a doormat. I haven't seen that. I've seen where I'm supposed to be compassionate. I've seen where I'm supposed to show mercy because great mercy has been shown to me. I've seen where I'm supposed to be forgiving because I've been forgiven so much and will be forgiven some more. I've seen all that, but not one time did I see where I was supposed to lay down and let you kick me in my teeth like I'm some sort of dog. I ain't seen that. If somebody else has seen that, then y'all let me know. I'll go look it up. Let me know the book, the chapter, and the verse, and I will read it for myself. However, what I'm saying is, like, that you have a right to demand that you be treated with respect when you have behaved in a manner that is deserving of respect. You play your role. You let other people play their role. And if you mess up, because we all gonna mess up. We all human beings. It happens. It's gonna happen. I know I probably messed up. I know I did. I messed up a few times today. The only thing I can do is say, hey, listen, I made a mistake. I messed up. Will you forgive me? And then at that point, once I do that, then whatever happens from that, if they have a choice. They can choose to forgive me and we can move on, right? Or they could choose to walk in unforgiveness and they can move on, because at that point it's between them and God. It ain't got nothing to do with me, because I already did what I said. Hey, I'm sorry, I messed up. Now what that person does with it, that's whatever. I'm not gonna take ownership of that and be like, oh my God, I just messed up so bad. I already took ownership of it. I already recognized that I messed up. I already recognized that I made a mistake. I already came to you and said, hey, I'm sorry, I was wrong. If I showed my butt in public, I'm gonna apologize in public. Now, what you do with that, honey, sir, ma'am, that's between you and God. Now you can say, hey, I accept your apology. We're gonna move forward, and yes, we can move forward. But when you do that, you have to make sure that you straight up gonna move forward and not keep holding it in your pocket so you can keep throwing it back in somebody's face. But that's another lie for another time. But if that person, or like in my case, like say they just like, nope, I'm not forgiving it. Okay, that's between you and God. I'm not going to shoulder that. I'm not going to switch roles. I'm not going to get on the defensive and have you on the offense all the time, because I already put it out there. I already said, hey, I messed up. Okay. And you do what you do. So I'm going to play my role. So just like with the person that I was talking to earlier or on Friday, I was like, no. Don't switch. See, you're switching roles and putting yourself in a defensive position when you, dear heart, should be in the offensive position, because you are the customer. The service has not been provided to you. You paid for the service. It hasn't been provided to you in a satisfactory manner. And you don't switch roles and then go to them and say, well, what did I do to make you think that you could? No. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. You don't have to accept halfway. You don't have to accept halfway behavior or toxic behavior. You do not have to do that. You have to understand who you are, what you're worth, and you don't accept that. If you pay for a plumber or somebody to come in and do work in your house and you don't like the work that has been done, you're going to let them know that, because you know that you're paying for the service. That's the same thing with this particular situation that it wasn't a plumber, but it was the same principle. You're not pleased with this service. So you don't switch to a defensive role. You remain in your offensive role and have them hold the other people accountable for not doing what they said they were going to do. And that does not just apply as in a consumer type way. That applies for everything. You expect people to hold you accountable when you don't do things you're supposed to do, or you've done something that you shouldn't have done, and you hold people accountable for their actions, and you don't take ownership of somebody else's mess. It's simple as that. So this is Auntie Mary said it for today. So today, remember, play your role, and also remember, listen, if it is hateful to you, don't do it to somebody else. Don't do it. It's as simple as that. Y'all have a good night.